Also, when you have any information from any scholar, you have the right as a student to ask him for a proof from the Quran. So we have thabat and tathabbut. Thabat means being consistent in seeking knowledge and getting the information no matter what. So I have, last time I was in the other masjid, and one of the sisters, we were talking about Salat al-Fajr, and she said that the day of judgment, Isa alayhi salam, Jesus peace be upon him, he's going to come on Friday. Now I know that he's coming on Friday, and she said he's going to pray with the people on Fajr prayer. I was not sure about this. Is it Fajr or not? So I told her, okay, wait until I get you the information. I didn't know.
Right.
So I asked my sheikh. I have actually a scholar who he's my teacher, and I asked my sheikh and I asked him, is it true or something like that? It took him 24 hours to get the information for me, and he said yes, it was Fajr, alhamdulillah. But what I'm saying here now, I'm not a role model, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me, is like when you have some kind of information and you don't know about it, it's better to go and seek for that information.
Right.
Don't ignore it and say, oh, well, I don't know the information, so I'm just going to ignore it and just keep myself confused. Okay? Keep consistent and ask. You can ask any scholar. You can ask the imam over here. There is also the website questions and Islam questions and answers. It's a very good website that shows also the proofs. The other thing is the tathabbut, and check the authenticity of the information. So if the imam tells you that you can pray with your shoes on, okay, you can go to the imam and say, okay, give me the proof that you can do that. And then he will tell you that there is a hadith saying, last time I told you about that, there is a hadith saying that the person can actually pray with his shoes. Okay, things like that, right? These are information, and so it's good to have it. And if someone tells you that, oh, you should do that in Islam, tell him, where's your dalil? Where's your dalil means proof. Where's your proof in Islam? Where's your proof in the Quran? Where's your proof in the hadith? Things like that, okay? Because there are some, when I first became Muslim, that's one of the things, the mistakes that I've done. People kept pulling me to their own sect and their own thoughts. They want me to do things. I felt that I am pushed to do things that I don't want to do. At the same time, a lot of things, they were not from the Islam. You see what I'm saying? They were not from the Islam, but they just, because they put culture with Islam.
Oh, yes.
And they want me to do it. Like, for example, wear niqab. Where does it say in the Quran that you should cover your face, for example? Things like that,
I asked about that too, and the response is that when it says somewhere, I don't know verbatim, but that it says to speak to the prophet wives through a veil. But I'm like, but we're not. Was that just for the prophet, or should men follow that and have their women, with a veil?
Well, the veil, what? Also covering the face? Could be this is a veil.
Okay, could be considered.
Yes,
okay.
wearing modesty, is a veil.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. But let me tell you something. The people with the niqab will tell you a hadith, and the people without the niqab will tell you another hadith. And I'll tell you both. And both of them actually are, one of them is authentic and the other one is not.
Okay.
One of them is when the Prophet ﷺ said, commanded the wives to the women believers to veil. It says in the hadith that women used to wear layers of clothes. So they took the lower level, the under layer level, they tore it, and they wrapped themselves. And it says in the hadith that when they left, they looked like black crows.
Like who?
Because they were black crows.
Oh, okay.
Crows, the
bird?
The bird.
Okay.
Because they were all covered with black. And so that's why the very strict Salafi people, they tell you, oh, the women should be covering and they should wear black too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There is another hadith that there was a woman, her name is Asma. She was one of the Sahabiyat, one of the companions. And she came inside and the Prophet ﷺ could see her figures. She was not covered. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Asma, the hijab is, everything is covered except this and this. And he pointed at his wrist and his face. That means everything is covered except the hands and the face. from that,
So much.
yeah, so much. See, I mean, I can't tell you. There are so many proofs about that. But
no, but I'm
then
saying there's so many
Yeah.
differences and
see,
stuff.
but see, those are very minor differences. Like the niqab is considered a minor difference,
Right,
but
right.
the hijab itself is a major difference.
Yeah.
So the minors, is
Okay.
whoever like to go with that opinion, go with that opinion. If you like
Okay.
to go with that opinion, and both of them are correct. You're not Allah will not come and say, oh, you're doing a bad deed because you're not doing this or something like that.
Okay,
You
but
see what
you
I'm saying?
just said the hadith says, here
And
this.
here, yes.
But I've been told, or whatever you hear, and then maybe even see that like we can wear up to 3/4 length sleeve.
No, we
like,
shouldn't.
no.
I'm gonna ask you something.
Yeah.
And in the feet, I'm sorry, in
the
the,
feet.
I
And the
know
feet.
when we come to pray, they need to be covered.
Yes,
but
that's
what
true.
about in the summertime? Can we wear sandals
Yeah, you can, but
without socks? I mean,
wear socks that it only shows. The sandals that it
like
shouldn't
a
be.
flip flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
It has to be either wearing you can wear those nylon socks
Yeah.
that it doesn't show.
Yeah.
It doesn't show the color of your skin. That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a little thick.
Like
Okay,
these.
so
Yeah.
let me see.
You mean like these? These are my husbands.
Yeah, but those
They're
are
thin.
No, those are regular socks.
Yeah.
Those are regular socks.
I think she
No.
means like I don't want to say this word, but like
Those are
back
the
in
stockings.
No, well, okay. Well, I was gonna say like back in the day, like your dad might have had church socks,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
that.
Oh,
You
the
can wear
nylon,
those
the real
stockings.
thin.
They call them stockings.
Yeah, like
Real thin.
that men wear with maybe like with professional shoes and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can wear something like that. So some of the etiquettes of seeking knowledge also making sure to understand what is intended to be said in the words of Allah.
What's that?
Okay, in other words, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the women should not showing their body in the ayah of the Quran. The people who say, oh, hijab is not fard and it's not obligatory, they say, oh, it means that not to show only the neck and not to show the chest.
Okay.
You're not supposed to be exposing your chest or your neck.
What about the ears? Because sometimes
Hold on. That's
Oh.
what the people of the Qur'ani people, that they say that hijab is not fard, that it is not obligatory. And they say, so as long as you can show your hair, as long as you cover this area, then it's okay. They say if you show your hair, it's okay. That's what they say. But the intention of that ayah, it shows that in the other section of the ayah, it says that and do not let them show their body, and whatever is allowed to be shown. Okay, so what is allowed to be shown is what the size of the body, for example. You see what I'm saying? So they're not supposed to be wearing a hijab with tight clothes.
Right.
Because wearing tight
defeat
clothes is
the
actually
purpose.
also
Exactly.
covering the body, but is it covering the body properly?
No, that's wrong. That's
So when we are reading the ayahs of the Quran, we're not supposed to try to interpret it in our
Right.
own way to just fulfill our own desires. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes
We're
sense.
supposed to do it exactly what Allah really intended for us to do
just
it.
like the women. I see women when they wear the hijab, they got jeans and a shirt on.
Right. I mean, they defeated the purpose.
And they tight jeans.
Right.
And I'm like, what's the purpose? You might as well take the hijab off and go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's wrong. We don't do that.
In other words, also, don't look for fatwas to serve your own desires,
Oh,
but
yeah,
rather
you
to
need
seek
to
the
serve.
pleasure of Allah. So some people say, okay, well, alcohol is not haram.
Oh my
Because in the Quran it only shows the word khamr. Khamr means wine. So we're not allowed to drink wine, but it's okay to drink beer because the beer was not at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
You can't drink. You can drink beer.
That's what
That's
they
what
say. Some
people-
people say.
Oh.
Because
right?
they're trying to
Because
make it fit
what they
for
are
them.
doing, they're trying to make fatwa. Fatwa means an Islamic ruling to serve their own desires.
Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that.
People do that stuff
All the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I've seen it all the time where people would say, "Oh, Allah is not haram because smoking, for example, smoking cigarettes." They say, "Well, it's not mentioned in the Quran. Why would I not be
Is
smoking?"
that haram though? To smoke a
It is
cigarette?
haram. Yes,
It
because
is?
because in the
I
Quran,
didn't know that.
there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ
think
that
it
a
was.
person should not be harming themselves,
Okay.
like
Yep.
for example, cutting themselves or
Yeah.
harming themselves with the smoking.
Yeah.
You're harming yourself.
Yeah.
You're getting yourself a cancer or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're not supposed to be harming themselves. So the scholars are using that hadith to prove that smoking is haram.
Okay.
But and then someone will come and tell you, well, it does not take you outside the fold of Islam. Of course, you would be a sinner if you do it, but it's better not to do it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?